We get this phone call and they describe this little boy to me. By all accounts, I should have been totally freaked out and should have said no. He was born 29 weeks gestation. He was 2 pounds 11 ounces at birth. There was drug exposure throughout the entire gestational time. He had level 3 brain bleeding, chronic acid reflux, issues with his lungs. They told us that he'd be at risk for learning disabilities, speech issues, eye issues. Then as he started to get older, there was definitely a focus issue. Of course, then school began for him, and that was a challenge. We were intent on at least some school success, or hopeful that he could dial into what they were trying to teach him at school.
Made them argue among themselves. They were quiet again. But on the 3rd day after the argument,
we reached a point in our life of like total desperation. I was losing it. We'd already tried medication, we'd tried counseling, we'd tried tutoring. We were sitting at the table every single night working on homework. We're struggling so bad, not just academically, but at home with these impulsive things, and just like, what are we doing? You know, I'm just like, what are we doing? There was a note that came home one day that said that there was this little, like a seminar or something about brain integration and ADD, ADHD, etc. And I thought, well, I've gotta go see this. So we went, and we were intrigued by what we heard, like it, all about this process, and yet I was skeptical. Not that I didn't have hope, but you see what I mean? It's like, I don't want to be a fool about this. And like the way they described it too, it's like, you do what? And it produces what? I don't know. Like, I just couldn't wrap my brain around it. But it was desperation, and also just how badly you want life to be okay for your kids, as a mom. And I thought, okay, if it could even possibly work, we have to try it, because what else is left? So I called, and tearfully, so glad I made that call, because it was bad what was going on in our life at that time. It was just like really bad.
Isaac was very ADHD. One thing I noticed right off the bat were his eyes. His eyes were jumping back and forth, and no smooth pursuit back and forth like with reading. Oftentimes the child will come in my room and they'll see the massage table, and they wonder what that's about and what are they going to be doing, and what is this? It's different. It's not something they've heard about. It has the word brain in it, so maybe it's a little scary. But what it is, brain integration is an 80-point protocol specific to Crossinology. It's using the acupressure points. It's all done outside the clothing. It's non-invasive. It's very comfortable. Isaac, from start to finish, was a big difference. I could see where this little child, his eyes were brighter. He was becoming more confident in who he was. He was seeing the world in a different way, and that was obvious.
The difference in him before brain integration and after it's huge. I was reluctant to say, anything, but then my husband started saying, hey, have you noticed that he's doing this or that or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, it's not just me. So then we started openly talking about these things that we were seeing in our kids, and we could quantify them and tell you specifically how they were changing and growing, and it was like miraculous. I wanted to shout it from the mountaintops. I wanted to call every one of my friends who had children that were struggling in similar ways and say, please do it. So now he's listening. He's intent. I mean, I'm just telling you straight out. Reading was a torturous process. And wow. I don't know what we would have done. I don't know where my family would be today if it were not for that.